G'day there guys, Marky here, and welcome back to another episode of r/relationship advice. I do hope you enjoyed today's episode, and with that said, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn to the barbie, let's get right into it. Posted by user 8BillionAliens, titled, Am I the asshole for telling our mutual friends the real reason I adopted a cat? I, 28 female, recently agreed to foster a cat who I was told had massive behavioral issues and was going to be taken into an animal shelter if I didn't agree. I expected spitting, hissing, biting, not litter box trained, etc. The cat arrived with nothing to her name. Cat is 5 years old, no box, balls, toys, food, nothing but a flea collar that was clearly months old and too tight. Cat was absolutely filthy, ex-owner told me they couldn't provide money at the time for me to set the cat up, and I allowed it as I'd been told that they were in a nasty financial position. We agreed to keep a tab of vet bills and food bills to be paid. As they are leaving, she mentions the case of White Claws she stopped to pick up on the way. I was gobsmacked. I set about getting what the cat needed and began to try to gauge its behavior. Turns out this animal is the sweetest, smartest, kindest being I've ever had the pleasure to know. I took the cat to the vet, and Cat is incredibly ill and underweight due to neglect. I got her some medical shampoo for her skin, antibiotics for the massive infection she has, and then called her ex-owner and told her to send me her microchip details as I would be keeping the cat. She says that's fine, Cat was never chipped anyway. Doesn't pay anything bar $40 of the bills. 2 days later, she turns up at her job with hair and nails done. I sat on it for 6 weeks and stewed until I found out that she had been speaking to someone about a kitten. I didn't embellish anything. I simply told 2 of my closest friends what had happened and why the cat stayed with me. The truth spread like wildfire, and most people have now turned their back on her. My only intent was to stop her from getting another animal, not for it to end up like this. I feel like I could be the asshole because this has affected her work and friendships. So, am I the asshole? OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the asshole. I told our mutual friends the truth behind the circumstances of the adoption, preventing her from getting another pet, and causing the majority of our friends to not want her around anymore. I feel like this is genuinely akin to something like a DV situation. Like, oh no, I accidentally told everyone about the fact that she DVs her partner, and now no one wants to associate with her anymore because she's a psychopath. I don't think you're an asshole for exposing shitty people for their shitty actions. In fact, I encourage you to do it more so, OP, not the asshole. In the comments, Abbott Thoth says, not the asshole. This sounds like a person who should not be trusted with anything other than perhaps a cactus. Not your fault that people spread gossip. Not the asshole. To be honest, I would take it a step further and contact the local shelters so they can hopefully put her on a do not adopt list. It is not being malicious, it is to protect other innocent animals from her abuse and neglect. OP says, I actually have done this. Called and emailed every single place I could find in a 300-mile radius. That's great. Thank you for doing that. No animal should be with her. Her actions affected her work and social life, not you. Most normal people don't want to associate with animal abusers. OP says, I just feel really guilty because nobody really liked her from what I've heard, and this information was the turning point. Plus, a couple people have told me that I need to be more understanding and that I need to take circumstances into account and blah blah blah. I just feel there is no excuse. Cats are fastidious. They clean habitually. They don't get so filthy they shed dirt for weeks, even with bathing, without extreme neglect. Please don't feel bad for her. There is clearly a reason that she isn't well liked. You can shout that from the rooftops and be good. She's an abuser. Please seek out do not adopt lists in your area and add her name. I work in cat rescue and people like that need baseball bat counseling. Thank you for being a hero for the kitty, purrs to you, not the asshole. OP replies, my other 2 were both abandoned. I found them at 4 weeks old and hand-raised them. Help in kitty season with neonates too. I agree with bat counseling. You are an incredible human being. Once I have a house, my plan is to actually start a rescue for kittens and cats, neonates included, wherein stray cats are a problem out here and shouldn't be in the weather that we deal with, the Sonoran Desert. Thank you for helping out the precious fur baby in her time of greatest need. Definitely not the asshole for doing all that you did to prevent her from adopting again. Back up to the post, we have an edit. Well, folks, I think we can safely say that I am not the asshole. Wanted to thank all of you for your judgments, no matter what they were. The darkness has been given all of the wonderful messages, love, and scritchies. You can keep an eye out for a cat tax for a post due to this blowing up. Keep safe, be nice to each other and the animals. Edit 2. Also, I wanted to assure you all that she will be okay. We are in for several surgeries, corrective and necessary, and a long recovery. But I've got her every step of the way. She will have the best of everything forever. Update. I received some messages asking me for an update on the tiny void baby that I adopted a year and a half ago. Unfortunately for me, the fallout of telling people the actual reason eventually led to myself and my ex splitting. Fortunately, I think it was by far the best outcome. I ended up naming her Freya, and she is still the light of my life. For the last year and a half, we've battled hard to get her healthy. She's had her shoulder and jaw realigned, 6 teeth removed due to extreme dental issues, and we finally managed to get her ear infections under control after 9 rounds of medication and a surgical cleaning. I spent around $5,000 getting these issues fixed, and I would do it all again in a heartbeat. She's also gone from being extremely underweight, 2.6 pounds, to a healthy 7.7 pounds. She's my baby, whole world, and it's hard to imagine what life would be like without her. Previously, she would only eat the worst food you could buy. We've managed to get her to eat premium-grade wet and dry food, as well as transition into eating some real food, fish, chicken. She plays now, loves anything that has feathers, and is always extremely grateful for any new thing that she is given, be it a small toy or a new cat stand. She has 2 sisters now and 2 dog brothers who she loves to terrorize. She has become a "the sky is awake so I'm awake so get up child, no sleep-ins allowed." She is my teddy bear and sleeps in a king-sized bed every night. In the comments, for those of you wondering about the breakup, the comment from OP about sums it up. DV, which he began to take out on the animals when he couldn't get under my skin anymore. The whole incident caused some trouble in his workplace. Half of where I live is employed by that company, and he took it out on us. So glad that they are both out of that situation. Animal abuser and domestic abuser are a tight Venn diagram. Sounds like this woman loves to have a cute kitten, then tosses it when the kitty grows up and stops being cute. Working in rescue really makes you despise people sometimes. I read a story on Reddit about someone who I'll call the kitten lady, who all the local rescuers know about because she would get a kitten and then return them when they grew up. I've had my pair for a year, and while they were growing up, I just couldn't imagine not wanting to know who they are when they've grown up to be 5. And after a year, I'm amazed at how much they've changed, and so excited to see how they'll change in the future. But yeah, Kitten Lady lives rent-free in my head because I just don't understand how you could do that. Why did she not just foster? Literally, all fostering is taking care of kittens and then giving them back when they're adopted and grown up. Our next post is by user ThrowRA titled, "My brother-in-law's 36 male, husband 38 male, makes me 24 female feel uncomfortable, and I don't know how to tell my husband 30 male without them thinking I'm homophobic." So this man has known me since I started dating my husband a few years ago. So you can imagine that we shared a lot of moments, and I consider him my family. But lately he's been treating me like I'm the new girlfriend who's been dating his brother-in-law for a week, if you know what I mean. I gave birth 10 weeks ago, and I still feel tired, and every time I say that out loud when he's around me, he tells me that I'm overreacting, that it's been 2 months, and that I have to stop taking advantage of the situation to use my husband. He is the one who takes care of everything in our house. He does the laundry, cooks, cleans, and some nights he takes care of our daughter, but he does it because he wants to, because more than once I wanted to do those things, and he told me that I should rest or things like that. The other day was my husband's birthday, and I decided to bake a cake and prepare a special dinner to receive his family, and of course he had something to say about that. He started making fun of me, saying that it was time for me to get my ass off the couch to do something productive, and he doesn't say those things when my husband's around. He says them when we are alone, and I try to ignore him because I don't want problems, but I can't do that anymore. Yesterday, he sent me an article about sex after giving birth and how many times husbands cheat on their wives because they're tired and don't want to have sex, and said something like I should pay attention and not let my marriage be ruined by my laziness. And the truth is that my husband and I had sex again a few days ago, but that's not something that I wanted to tell everyone. But he assumed that because I'm too tired to do certain things, or because my husband decided to take care of me and do everything, that I don't satisfy him. I swear, I can't stand him anymore. I don't know why he changed or why he suddenly treats me like trash, but I've had enough, and I want to tell my husband, but I don't know how. I know I sound like a fool for not knowing how to communicate with my husband, but in the past, this man has had problems with my other brother-in-law's wife because he accused her of being homophobic. And everyone took his side and hated her since then, and I don't want that. I honestly don't care if he's gay or whatever he wants to be, I just want him to leave me alone. Because I've been struggling a lot with guilt for letting my husband do everything, and listening to the things he says hurts me because they make me feel like I'm being a burden on my husband and that he will soon get tired of me. My fear of being accused of being homophobic has to do with the fact that I come from a religious family, and I'm sure that if I say something about him, everyone will take it the wrong way. So how can I face this? Confronting this man is not an option because he is not a peaceful person, and I don't want him to yell at me or accuse me of things that I'm not. So what can I do? How can I talk about this with my husband or my brother-in-law? I honestly don't know if he knows his husband is treating me this way, so I thought it would be a good idea to talk to him too. I completely understand how you feel as though you're trapped in a rock and a hard place situation, OP, and I do agree that you very much so are. While yes, there definitely is an imbalance in the workload that you guys have at home, this is something that your husband has been pushing for, and it doesn't seem as though you've been pushing enough, or if it is even necessary for you to push enough in the opposite direction just yet. The only thing I can agree on with the brother-in-law's side is that things aren't equal, but I'm more than confident that you're a reasonable and logical person, and this balance will shift in the future. That being said, brother-in-law never says this in front of your husband because he knows what he's saying is wrong and disgusting. I do urge you to just go to your husband and tell him everything that's been happening. If he trusts you, he will take your side in this because I think he's supposed to. Another option you have is to record these incidents, record him saying these things, so that when you do to go to your husband, you have undeniable evidence, and, you can oust the brother-in-law for being a dickhead. In the comments, Seriously, I Want Waffles says, "Hey brother-in-law, are you ready to say that again, in front of my husband? No? Then shut your pie hole because our life is none of your business. You really need to tell your husband what brother-in-law is saying. There is no need to carry this shit all on your own. Right? Honey, brother-in-law has shared some thoughts with me, and I'd love for him to repeat them in front of you. Come in here and listen to what he has to say. Even better if she's able to record brother-in-law anytime they're alone. Hey brother-in-law, I'm just going to record this to play back later since you seem to have just all the best advice. I bet he shuts his pie hole at that point. Tell your husband everything. This man is stepping way over the line. Also, tell him to butt out of your life. You don't need his advice. If you keep letting it slide, you are teaching him that it's okay to say and do those things. Maybe record this asshole first, next time you're alone, so you can show your husband how bad it is. Also, you are taking care of a newborn. Your body is wrecked and healing from birth, and your hormones are completely out of whack. This asshole, whose most traumatic body experience was probably passing a hard bowel movement, doesn't get to say in how long your body needs to recover from that. I mean, she has the article and comments about sex via text as proof of at least one incident. Update. After posting, I decided to take the advice of one of the people who commented on the original post and left my phone near my husband with the chat open for him to see. He saw the chat and asked me since when did I let his brother-in-law send me those kind of things. I told him that I never let him, and he simply started giving me advice without me asking for it, and I told him everything, and fortunately he believed me and said that he would talk to his brother about his husband's behavior. That same day, he called his brother, and they had a long talk, and of course his husband was hysterical and told him a bunch of lies about me. According to him, ever since my daughter was born, I haven't stopped bragging about motherhood because I know that he can't have children, that I always tried to make him feel less for being a man, and things like that are not true. Of course, the majority of the family believed him because they know that I come from a very religious family, and they believe that's why I'm capable of doing those things that he's accused me of. They always believe everything he says because he and my husband's brother have been a couple since high school and have suffered a lot of homophobia, and they are constantly trying to protect them from it, even if you are not homophobic. I would like to say that he hates me and thus justify him, but he was always like that. A while ago, he had a fight with his other brother's wife and also accused her of being homophobic. They had a fight because he told her children that they should like boys because girls aren't as fun, and things like that. Then she told him not to tell them that everyone will decide if they like girls or boys in the future, and he got offended and he accused her of being homophobic because according to him, she would not have said that if they had told her children that they should like girls. When he accused her of that, the whole family turned their backs on her, and no one talks to her. And now they're doing the same thing to me, and as much as I try not to care, I just can't. I have known his family since I was a teenager, and I considered them family. I don't understand why they do this to me when I needed them most. And the worst part is that my husband has been acting weird since then, and treats me differently like he's avoiding me. And it terrifies me to think that maybe he will end up believing him. That's it. There is nothing more to say. In the comments, Firefly232 says, "Pull the band-aid off and have the conversation with your husband. You and him should be a team on this. It sounds like brother-in-law is the golden child, and that suggests a messed up family dynamic. You've just learned how easily they discard their daughters-in-law. Sounds kind of misogynistic to me. If your husband isn't supportive to you, isn't on team marriage, then you need to know ASAP." Jumping on top comment to say that you and hubby need couples counseling right now. Secular couples counseling, not religious. They'll recommend that you both just suck up whatever unhappiness there is, because no divorce, ever. The biggest problem here is that you have just given birth to a daughter, and her father's entire family is misogynistic. If you think that you're going through a bunch of shit in the 10 weeks since you've given birth, imagine how much shit she's going to go through in the next 18 years before she can get out. This is a horrible situation for your daughter. Unless your husband wises up immediately to the toxicity coming from brother-in-law and the whole family's support of him, then you're going to be the only one who can protect your daughter from this. If 6 months of couples counseling can't get your husband to see how poisonous this environment is for his wife and his daughter, then you need to get a divorce and take your daughter out of there. I hope a dose of reality will wise your husband up, but you need to realize how much long-term damage will happen to the both of you and your daughter if you stay involved with your husband's family. You all need to be low contact or no contact with your husband's family. If he can't see the necessity for that, then you and your daughter are in for a lifetime of misery. There is no other way. Your husband either will understand how poisonous this situation is, or he won't. And if he won't, then you must take control of your own emotional and mental health and your daughter's by leaving with her. If you do leave with her, encourage your sister-in-law to seek individual counseling to help her decide if remaining in her marriage and this family is in her and her children's best interests. Jerslin says, quote, "According to him, ever since my daughter was born, I haven't stopped bragging about motherhood because I know that he can't have children and that I always tried to make him feel less than for being a man and things like that are not true." What the actual F is that kind of logic? Especially when OP has receipts for a good chunk of the nasty shit he said to her unprompted. OP and her husband need to show those receipts, and then go no contact with anyone that continues to assume OP is just being a homophobe. There's also another hidden red flag. OP has stated they've known her husband's family since she was a teenager, and there is a 6-year age gap between them. That whole family is messed up. I'd be divorcing that shithead husband and staying the F away from his family as best you could with having kids. Just screams red flags. And that's where I'm going to end today's episode, guys. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know what you thought of it in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.